The Daily Stoic, by Ryan Holiday. This summary is brought to you by Hook My Book. The Stoics were a group of people who lived in ancient Rome, and they believed in a lot of things that are still popular today, like living a good life, being in control of your emotions, and being able to handle difficult situations. However, because Stoicism is a philosophy that has been around for a long time, it has been misunderstood and has not received the respect it deserves. This book is trying to change that by reintroducing Stoicism to a new and wider audience. The Stoics were a school of philosophy that taught that happiness is a virtue. They believed that by controlling our perceptions, our actions, and our will, we can find mental clarity and true understanding of our place in the world. This book contains translations of the best passages from the three main figures of late Stoicism, Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, along with material to prompt and facilitate the asking of big questions. Clarity. The most important thing Stoics do is differentiate between what we can and cannot change. For example, if a flight is delayed because of weather, yelling at an airline representative will not change the weather. If we can focus on making clear what parts of our day are within our control and what parts are not, we will not only be happier, we will have a distinct advantage over other people who fail to realize they are fighting an unwinnable battle. The Stoics believed that the most important thing you can do is make sure your intentions are clear, and that you stay focused on what you want. If you have a clear goal in mind, you will be able to make better decisions and stay on track, no matter what comes your way. People can be addicted to different things, and those things can be harmful to their mental clarity and self-control. People need to reclaim their freedom by quitting whatever it is that they are addicted to have clarity and self-control. The Stoics teach that everything that is outside of your control is irrelevant and that you can only focus on what is within your control. They also teach that you can achieve serenity by making good choices and by trusting in God and fate. The Stoics believed that the only thing within our control is our mind. Our physical body is not completely within the circle of control, meaning that we can be struck with illness or impairment at any moment. However, this is all good news because it drastically reduces the number of things we need to think about. Marcus says to approach each task as if it were your last, because it very well could be. And even if it isn't, botching what's right in front of you doesn't help anything. Find clarity in the simplicity of doing your job today. Passions and emotions. The Stoics believe that getting angry rarely solves anything. They say that it makes things worse because now everyone is upset and the problem is no closer to getting solved. Some successful people try to tell us that anger is a powerful fuel, but this is short-sighted because it ignores the pollution produced as a side effect and the wear and tear it puts on the engine. Martin Luther King Jr. warned fellow civil rights leaders in 1967 that anger is too great a burden to bear, and this is true for most extreme emotions as well. Anxiety is a feeling of fear, stress, and nervousness. It's usually caused by something that we can't control, like a situation that's scary or something that we're worried about. When we're anxious, we usually focus on the things that are making us anxious instead of on the things that we can control. This often leads to us feeling stressed out, scared, and nervous. Theodore Roosevelt was a truly great man. But he was also driven by a compulsion, a work and activity addiction that was seeming without end. Many of us share this affliction, being driven by something we can't control. We're afraid of being still, so we seek out strife and action as a distraction. The combination of power, fear, and mania can be deadly. The leader, convinced that he might be betrayed, acts first and betrays others first. Afraid that he's not well liked, he works so hard to get others to like him that it has the opposite effect. Convinced of mismanagement, he micromanages and becomes the source of the mismanagement. And on, the things we fear or dread, we blindly inflict on ourselves. The next time someone gets upset, try to remember this quote from Marcus Aurelius. He says that it is possible to have no opinion about something, and that this will make us less aggravated. Epictetus believed that the impressions that we have are much like the weather, which can be unpredictable and can catch others by surprise. He also said that, in today's society, we have forecasters who can predict storms and be prepared for them. However, Epictetus also said that we are still vulnerable to storms if we do not have a plan and if we do not learn how to protect ourselves. Awareness. Self-assessment is important because it can help you learn more about your strengths and weaknesses. It can also help you understand what it will take to achieve your goals. We underestimate our capabilities just as much and just as dangerous as we overestimate other abilities. Cultivate the ability to judge yourself accurately and honestly. Look inward to discern what you're capable of and what it will take to unlock that potential. The author talks about how people can be slaves to their own desires. He talks about how people can be slaves to their money, their positions, and their mistresses. He also talks about how people should take an inventory of their obligations from time to time and see how many of them are self-imposed. The Stoics believe that humans can objectively evaluate themselves and their actions. They believe that this ability is important because it allows us to make the right decisions and be free from self-deception. They also believe that we should each have a Cato, a great and noble person we can allow into our minds and use to guide our actions, even when they're not physically present. Unbiased thought. The Stoics believed that the way to deal with difficult situations is to be aware of what is going on inside your mind and to try to control your thoughts and emotions. Epictetus teaches that it is important to have trust, but to verify your thoughts and feelings before acting on them. He urges people to ask themselves questions such as, "What do I really know about this person?" and "Why do I have such strong feelings?" People tend to accept ideas without questioning them. This can be dangerous because it can lead to bad decisions. People usually think they know things, but they don't. They should test everything they think. The Stoics warned trusting your intuition, or your gut. They thought that our senses can often be wrong, and that it is important to analyze what is happening before making a decision. They also advised not to be too optimistic or pessimistic about the future, and to instead trust that things will work out in the end. Right action. The monk dressed in his robes. A priest puts on his collar. A banker wears an expensive suit and carries a briefcase. A Stoic has no uniform and resembles no stereotype. They are not identifiable by look or by sight or sound. The only way to recognize them is by their character. The Stoics believe that being a good person is more impressive than being wealthy. The more impressive person is the one who does good things with their resources even if they don't have a lot of them. Epictetus taught that you should look at the good and bad things that happen in your life and see which decisions you made that lead to those outcomes. He says that things that are neither good nor bad, like outside events, are determined by our own choices. Epictetus teaches that one should not aspire to become a sage, but instead should approach philosophy as a way of life and make incremental progress. He stresses the importance of maintaining a constant level of effort in one's pursuit of self-improvement. The Stoics believe that it's important to think for ourselves, rather than rely on the opinions of others. This is because we can't control what other people think about us, and trying to gain their approval can be a dangerous endeavor. Think about all the small choices that will roll themselves out in front of you today. Do you know which are the right way and which are the easy way? Choose the right way, and watch as all these little things add up toward transformation. Problem solving. Plato's view is that everything can be understood holistically by looking at it from a high perspective. When looking at the world, we see that everything is connected and that our petty concerns are dwarfed by the greater issues at hand. This perspective can be used to solve many problems. The author discusses how people can use the knowledge of people who have gone before them in order to make better choices. He advises readers to seek out this knowledge and to use it to make better decisions. Do your job. Do your job today. Whatever happens, whatever other people's jobs happen to be, do yours. Be good. Pragmatism. Marcus reminds himself that success doesn't come from waiting for things to be perfect, but from working toward success in the present. Musonius Rufus was exiled multiple times, but didn't let it stop him from learning and teaching. Even in difficult situations, there are learning opportunities. That self-assurance is yours to claim as well. No matter what happens today, no matter where you find yourself, shift to what lies within your reasoned choices. Ignore, as best you can, the emotions that pop up, which would be so easy to distract yourself with. Don't get emotional, get focused. Finally, the author tells us to be resilient and kind. So today, if things look like they might take a bad turn or your luck might change, why worry? This might be one of those formative experiences you will be grateful for later. End of the summary. Thanks for listening.